So in this video, I'm going to be talking about misunderstanding and trolling, just in my own way. It's based on what I see on social media, and it's also some real life interaction. So yeah, misunderstanding and trolling. And what has inspired me, or has an influence in me making this video is I actually saw a tweet from this a major public figure called Zuby. I think one of the most level-headed people that say some of the smartest things that I've seen personally on the internet. I follow him on Twitter, now known as X, and he tweeted, "Some people read social media posts like, how can I do my best to misinterpret this?" That's what he tweeted, and it's something that I agree with. That on social media, a lot of people at times, when somebody posts something, some people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, some people do their best to, misunderstand what the person is saying or even troll the person. And yeah, hence why I'm going to be talking about misunderstanding and trolling. And, I'm on YouTube, I don't have the biggest social media following. And a lot of the comments that I get, for the most part on YouTube, have been very positive. So I'm happy with that. But I've also got some negative comments here and there, and I want my channel to become even bigger, so it's something that I have to get even used to. And just recently, it's not the most negative comment I've gotten. This example that I'm about to give, it's not the most negative. I'm actually not even going to mention some of the troll comments I've got. But this particular one, I made this video about football on my YouTube shorts, and it said Bob Paisley, a legendary English manager, and then somebody in the comments said he was Scottish with a laughing face, and it's almost like the person is like trying to get like a gotcha moment, or I've just debunked what you said. You basically said an Englishman, an Englishman, but he was from Scotland. And I looked at that and said, I'm sure Bob Paisley's from England. So I actually checked myself and, found out he is from England. I didn't get it wrong. And even in the comments, I'm very grateful that some people responded and said, no, he's from England, born and bred. And this is something I see on social media. Like, people are just very quick to just, yeah, you were wrong on this. I'm going to get you here. And for me, the whole point of doing that is, I do believe some people need to be corrected for what they say. So if I say something that is incorrect and somebody brings out the facts, I have no problem. But just on that example, like, you said something that was wrong. So why did you have him mistaken for another manager? I don't know, but why would you just say that? And the way the person typed it was with such conviction. It's like, you were wrong. And I see this a lot. And that Zuby tweet, I see a lot on the internet. Somebody can give their point, whatever opinion they have, and somebody is just gonna misinterpret it, or try and bring themselves into it, or try and just misunderstand the point. I feel like this is something on social media that you see enhanced even more and more. I don't know what it is. I don't want to fully blame social media, because at the end of the day, it is human beings that use social media. So it's human beings. Like, a lot of people blame social media for things, but human beings are the ones that use social media. So you can't completely just blame social media. It depends on how humans choose to use it. And yeah, there's some good aspects. Some people give very informative opinions. It's not all negative. But for some reason, as human beings, we take negative feedback more. And just sometimes I just see people just do their best to just misunderstand your point, or even try and troll you. And listen, I don't have a problem with trolling, like, in some aspects. Like, I'm not good at a lot of things, but I think I'm good at trolling. I think I'm good at trash talking. I tend to use it as a defense mechanism, like reacting to someone. I'm not somebody who just trolls for no reason. I use it when I feel like somebody's trying to troll me or trash talk me. So that's not really something that I struggle with. But at the same time, where does it actually lead to? Like, I prefer to use that energy for something else. Sometimes just always trying to bite back at someone, or so on social media, because like we're not face to face, it's easier to just ignore negative comments, even though, like I said, a lot of the comments I get are positives, but here and there you get some negative. And that one, the example of the guy saying Joe Bob Paisley's from Scotland, wasn't the most negative, but it was somebody trying to, prove me wrong, basically, just misinterpret what I said, which you tend to see a lot on social media. I don't know why people do that, but it is something you come across a lot on social media. I've seen many videos where people just want to misunderstand someone, and that can even be in real life. I've had real life interactions where you're just not getting anywhere with someone. Like, I don't know whether the person is committed to misunderstanding you, whether you don't, like, we're not all meant to understand each other or agree with each other's point of view. So I do see that that's a part of like human beings. Like, some people, maybe we're just not for each other, and it's just best to just keep our distance and just say whatever we gotta say here and there, because you can't just blame this on social media when human beings use it. And I've had interaction with people where I feel like somebody was just committed to misunderstanding me, trying to troll me, trying to somewhat rage bait me or trigger me, like. And I'm somebody who, if it's face to face, it's difficult for me to ignore. Sometimes I do ignore, but you like to bite back. You wanna, because I feel like I don't start with people and somebody start with me a lot of the times, I try to bite back. And as I said, I'm quite decent at trolling and trash talking, so I want to say something that triggers you as well. Like, I want to trigger another person. I feel like all of that back, tit for tat, back and forth at times, where does it lead to at the end of the day? Like, what does it actually do? It might feel good in the moment, you might feel like you've humbled someone, but then at the same time, like, it's just energy that's just been wasted. So I prefer to just, it's easier said than done, but ignore sometimes. When you are reaching a place where the person you're speaking to is just committed to misunderstanding you, or better yet, troll you or disrespect, just ignore it. Like, but I am someone who is very difficult, but I will try to do that. I mean, one thing I'll probably try and implement, I think it's easier to ignore online because you're not face to face with someone, but like in real life, maybe, try and think of that person in that moment. I'm not saying they are what I'm about to say is, but in that moment, try and think, this is the devil. Like, this is Satan trying to test you. I'm not saying they are Satan. I'm saying in that moment, just so you don't react or waste your energy in a meaningless conversation or debate that's not going anywhere. Just think of it that way, maybe to move forward. Like, nah, this is just a test from the devil. As somebody who's raised as a Christian, the devil is something that you want to stay away from. So just thinking like that, maybe. And that's not to say I'm placing myself in the position of like God, but just in that example of someone just purposely trying to misunderstand you or troll you, maybe just nah, not today. There's that saying in the Bible, that quote from Jesus when he said, "Get behind me, Satan," or something like that. Like, no, nah, not today. I'm not gonna do this. But it is easier said than done because we are human, and sometimes some people, they'll just push and push and push. So maybe that's a way going forward. But I do think unnecessary back and forth is just, where does it actually lead to? I am someone who enjoys watching like roast sessions on like Comedy Central, the recent Kevin Hart roast, but that's like in an environment of comedy. So that's fine for me. And it's not that I'm too overly sensitive and I can't take banter and jokes. That's okay. But I feel like at times you're able to tell whether this is just a joke, banter, or somebody's really trying to say things disguised as jokes. So That's where your discernment. But I do think it's best not to get embroiled in the whole tit for tat and going back and forth, even if you do have the capacity to say things. Because where does it actually lead to? That satisfaction you might get from saying something, at the end of the day, what did you actually achieve? And just going back to what the video is about, misunderstanding and misinterpreting people and trolling, it's just something I see a lot on social media, that somebody can just make a video or tweet something or a TikTok, whatever, Instagram, and you will just see a comment and somebody is just doing their best to just misunderstand. I don't know why people do this. And when it's funny, when you debunk someone or troll someone, it has to be funny if it's a fact. So if the example I just gave, let's just say Bob Paisley was from Scotland, I would actually find that kind of funny. Like, whoa, this person I probably would have deleted the video. Like, I'm that ashamed that I've made a video lying. But when you say something, and I don't want to talk too much about this person, but it's just, I'd rather bring that example because it's not the worst comment in the world. I mean, some of the things, some particular things people have said, I'm not even going to give energy to that. But yeah, just, if you're going to debunk someone, at least come with facts. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video about misunderstanding and trolling that you see on social media, and it's something that humans tend to do.